Welcome to Design Diary, the podcast where you get to look inside my board game design notebook as well as what's going on inside my head. We look at a new word each day from the sense of mechanics, tone, theme, or inspiration for a full game. Today's word is
Otiose. I thought it was Otiose, but it's Otiose. O-T-I-O-S-E. Producing no useful result. Futile. Being at leisure, idle, lacking use or effect, functionless. And it's kind of how I feel this week. It's an absolute metaphor for this week. I am at, it's Friday, it's 11:14 p.m. I'm finally able to record. Kickstarter has taken every fiber of my being this week to just to get through all of the messages and comments and all, and it's been great. It's been absolutely amazing, and exactly how you would want it to be. But this is everything else has taken aside. It's all pushed off to the side. But anyway, I'm still writing and I'm still recording, and I feel like I did get something cool. I did. It took a little while though. So I'll read it as it went, so you can kind of see what it took to get there. I wrote that I just did a whole bunch of things and nothing happened. Does that sound familiar? So producing no useful result. Doing a bunch of things and just nothing, no progress, nothing happened. The reason I said does that sound familiar was because for me, it was a feedback I received from a game at Unpub where they said, they pushed around a bunch of cubes and nothing happened. So that was not the goal of the game. And many other players disagreed, so it didn't completely shut me down. But I did take it to heart and try to figure out what they meant by that. And I wondered, though, today, was what if that was the intent of the game? And how that would actually play out. Where you do a bunch of things, but don't actually make the progress. And progress is game. Like a game is a series of different progressions. And like, one of the things I thought was starting and ending a game at 0 points. So you may end up going up, you may end up going down, but you want to hit that 0 again at the end. And points are going to happen through all kinds of things that you do and your neighbors do. And maintaining that point value by the end is your ultimate goal while a bunch of other things are happening. You always want to stay where you started, but you have required actions or movements. So I threw that in there where I can't just, pass and say, I skip my turn because I'm trying to stay at 0. You have to do certain things and a certain number of things. And those are going to shift your numbers in up or down. So while I say that you can't pass, the second idea I had, which is still not the one that I was really super fond of, was a game where your best turn is one where you just say, I'll pass. And I'm sure there are games like that where when it comes around to me, if I just say I pass, that means I'm one turn away from winning. It could be something like that. But where that's your best move is to just pass. It's not like that in poker, pass, or I don't know if a pass is a fold or if it's a check. It's sort of both of them. I pass on playing or I pass on betting. But if I just say I'm not doing anything, and that's great, then you sort of get the Otiose effect that we're looking for. But where I feel like I got something was, I thought the term producing no useful result really made me think of a die, because a die does produce a result. No matter what, when you roll it, it produces a result. I feel like that's more than something like drawing a card or anything like that, because a card is, giving you information and things like that. But a die is generally giving you the result of a random, survey or whatever. So I wrote that you have a goal and you have cards in front of you, and for each of your goals, the cards are to achieve your goal. but each one does something special. So let's just say, for example, it's a game about, looking around. Let's just say it's a farming game. It's really simple, where the weather's an effect. There's other farmers. You have crops, and you have animals that you're taking care of. This is going right back to the other day. But let's just say it's a farming game, just a general farming game. When I roll a die on my turn, I have to roll a die. And it has to, if it produces no useful effect, it's not good, obviously. So what I'm trying to do is ramp up my number of useful effects. And I would have numbers 1 through 6 that I can use, and I can use them however I need. And I can say that a 1 is good because I'm one space away from, the sprinklers, and it's been warm and I need to turn the sprinklers on. And I can say a 4 is because, I have 4 sections of corn, and I can take care of all my corn. And then a 6 is important because it's 6 o'clock, and whatever that means for the gameplay. So those, I've justified them, and I don't expect it to be super creative. I almost expect it to be maybe some card play, in that you put down the numbers that you're good for, 1 through 6, and then their associations on other cards, and it's all given to you. So like, I know that I have to be within a certain amount of spaces to use the spaces card. It has to be a certain time to use the time card. Things like that. So when I can set myself up in a position to line up really well, I can roll the die and play my odds. And if the odds are for me, let's say I have 5 out of 6 of the numbers, work really well, then I'm aiming for the useful result. But if I only have 1, chances are I'm going to produce no useful result. And what happens when you produce no useful result? That's another thing that I kind of started thinking about. And why or when do you produce no useful result? For me, it's when I stay up all night working on a Kickstarter campaign and then try to, exert some creativity. But other times it's just when you're tired, when you haven't eaten. When else do you produce no useful result? Let's see. When you're depressed, or when you're struggling, you're wiped out. Those are all certain times, but others are, when factors are out of your control, when it's, you're not going to grow crops really well, when it's too sunny, when there hasn't been rain. So you're not producing no useful result, but maybe this act of randomness that we're trying does. So let's say I rolled a 2, and a 2 was not on my cards in front of me. I produced no useful result. So it would maybe go to an opponent, and maybe it would go to the opponent of my choice, or maybe it would go to the opponent to my left. And if they didn't have a 2, it would go to the next player. And if they didn't have a 2, it would work its way around. I like stuff like that. I think that's neat because it gives you reasons to position yourself, around your neighbor, and what numbers you play. Like, I'm going to see what you're doing, and I'm going to play the off numbers that you're not playing just because of that. So that's interesting. I don't know. I just started to think about like why I would produce no useful result, and then what's that mean? So my farmer did a 2 and it didn't work out. My farmer's tired. He or she needs to take a break. It could just be, thematic and just saying that, but it could also, trigger something into the game. So that's pretty much what I got. Set these cards in front of you. You justify based on your position, and it would be through card play and not creativity, although I could see it working in a creative game like that. And then you take your odds with the die, and if you get yours, you get yours. And if you don't, it's going to work its way around the table. And maybe something interesting would be if it goes around the table and then comes back to you and nobody else got it, then you get something special. I don't know. It gives another reason for me to have a certain number because nobody else at the table has it. I don't know. I have no idea. It's late. Thank you for bearing with me this week. It wasn't as terrible as it could have been, but lots of good things have been happening, and and I'm happy I was able to make it through it and record every single day. So I will see you again on Monday. All right. Thanks.